and you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going for the win. Remember back when they was doubting on the kid. Now they tuned in cause my game too legit.
Fantasy headliners. Nation. Headliner nation. Fantasy headliners for the nation. I'm a headliner. I'm a headliner.
Yo. Analytics off the chain. Other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on third down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. You know we about that Chubb life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation.
I'm a headliner.
What's going on, everybody? Sunday morning football's here. Football's live right now, in fact. And so far, I watched a little bit of the game, but I've been trying to get myself ready for this morning, so I haven't seen the entire game. But it does look like a defensive battle right now. Not a whole lot of scoring. But yeah, it is what it is. Let me get a drink here real quick. A little protein water to get the day started. The camera just a little bit. There we go. There we go. No better way to start your day than some protein water. As far as picks go, unfortunately, last week was not a great week. We're still well over 50% for our picks on the season so far. So yeah, could be a lot worse. Could be a lot better. I'm hoping we get back on track this week, though. I did take a little bit of a step back this past week, and I was like, all right, what did we do that maybe didn't work last week? What did we do that did work? I think maybe, and I'll blame myself for this. I need to get the, I think maybe one thing that I did last week that maybe hurt us a little bit, so I'm going to take the blame for this, and I apologize. I think I got a little too aggressive with some of the bets. The first couple of weeks that we had a whole lot of success when we were looking through the sports book, one thing that we were doing that was working really well for us was trying to find differences between Underdog and other books of more than a yard, either up or down, right? So either over by more than a yard or under by more than a yard, the average of the other sports books compared to what Underdog had. Last week, I got a little bit too aggressive, I think, and I think I started picking some of them that were less than that. And I think I kind of got away with what we did well the first couple of weeks. So we're going to get back to what we did that was successful the first couple of weeks, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed that it does stick with that. So let's go ahead. Let me get the sports book up here real quick. And actually, we're going to get started. There are, on Underdog this morning, there are a ton of green plays on Underdog this morning. So let's go ahead. Where's it at? Let's go ahead and hop on over and take a look at what we've got right now. Let me get the chat pulled back up here so I can see. And just to keep in mind, for those of you that maybe are new to this stream, haven't done it before, whatever it may be, just one thing to keep in mind, we don't answer start and sit questions in this stream. We are only doing pick'ems. We are only doing pick'ems in this stream. So if you have start and sit questions that you need to have answered, you're more than welcome to post them, like some people have already done. And then at that point, you can get help from your fellow headliners for start and sit questions. If you're looking for my advice, though, I won't be giving that until we go live for the members only live stream at 11:45. So I won't be answering any start and sit questions. Just want to make sure everyone is aware of that. All right. So the first one up is Cam Akers over 7.5 rushing touchdowns. Right now over on FanDuel, his line is listed at 8.5. Mason, we ended up going over $4,000 last night. I forget exactly what it was, but Jake did tweet it out if you're interested in seeing that. 8.5 right now over on FanDuel. So right now that's looking like a good bet for us. That's looking like a good bet for us. So let's go ahead and do Cam Akers. And we are going to take the over on 7.5 rushing attempts. Over 7.5 rushing attempts. Devontae Smith under 4.5 receptions right now, listed at 55% chance of potentially hitting. Going up against Dallas. That one might be a little bit more risky, but it also wouldn't surprise me either. And then Irv Smith Jr. So here's one thing, too, that we're going to do a little bit differently today as well. When I take a look at this, so right now, and one thing you can get in the Fantasy Optimizer that is also really helpful. So right now, Irv Smith Jr., right now his Underdog Fantasy line is listed at 2 receptions. But when you take a look at all these other sports books that are listed here, all these other sports books have him listed at 2.5 receptions. And the under is at 225, negative 215, negative 224. So when I take a look at all of these sports books right now and really good odds to hit under, that would essentially mean that Irv Smith Jr. at 2 receptions would be a pretty decent play. The thing that sucks about it is that it's at 2 and not 2.5 because we're not getting that extra half a reception. So if he does get 2, obviously that's going to go ahead and phase out right there. So unfortunately, this isn't a great bet, but we're going to go ahead and go with it. We're going to go ahead and take the under Irv Smith Jr. 2 receptions. Lower than 2 receptions. Let's look and see if there's any other discrepancies on the Fantasy Optimizer. Joe Mixon over his receptions is listed at 3 on Underdog. Everywhere else is at 3.5. 3.5 through here. But like on MGM, they're giving you odds of negative 105. Where they're giving you plus 120, plus 100, plus 102, plus 106. When you see the plus, so the negative is going to give you less of a return, which means that the books are essentially saying that that is probably a little bit more anticipated of hitting, whereas the pluses are saying, oh, going over 3.5 receptions is probably a little bit... going over 3.5 receptions is probably a little bit more. It's going to pay out a little bit more because it's less likely to hit. So when we take a look at the over on Joe Mixon, current line is set at 3. Other books got him at 3.5. But the over on the other books is giving you plus as a return. That's an interesting one. I'm trying to debate this one for a second. Because if we take the over at 3... Obviously, the other sports books are saying over 3.5 is less likely. I would say probably we go ahead and take the over. Listed at 3.5. Obviously, if he were to hit 4, but one book has less odds, we'll go ahead and go over on Joe Mixon receptions as well here. And one thing to keep in mind as well, yeah, it's giving you a plus return because it's not as likely to hit, meaning that the odds that they're paying out are going to be a lot higher. Okay? So, yes, that would be correct. So, when you see that plus 120, you look at that and say, oh, okay, the plus means they're going to pay out more for it, but that means that it's less likely to hit. Whereas if it's giving you a negative return or minus return that you see there, it's going to be a little bit more likely to hit because the payout isn't going to be as high. Now, the one thing, again, on Underdog is they have fixed turnouts, right? They have fixed payouts, which means you're either, it doesn't matter if you hit the over or the under, you're going to make the same amount of money regardless. The odds are the same on Underdog. So we're looking at other sports books to say, okay, where are the odds kind of floating to? So for this one, we did Cam Akers higher than 7 rushing attempts, higher than 7.5 rushing attempts. We did Joe Mixon higher than 3 receptions, and we did Irv Smith Jr. lower than 2 receptions. So there it is again real quick. Cam Akers higher than 7.5. Joe Mixon higher than 3. Irv Smith Jr. lower than 2. That's our first ticket there. And also keep in mind, like I talked about last week as well, I'm just putting together tickets in order of how we're finding some of these bets. If you don't like some of these bets, then find what you like better and put those together on one ticket. I'm trying to save time just because I'm trying to give you guys as much information as possible. So personally, I'm just looking at the overall amount of bets that hit, whether or not all my slips together hit. If you want a slip that's more likely to hit, then put together bets that you feel are more likely to hit. So make sure that you're doing that, okay? Looking through the fantasy optimizer again. Tony Pollard under 14.5 rushing attempts. Oh man, wrong pipe. I'm dying. Not really. Oh man. Ooh. Oh man. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Oh shoot. My bad, chat. Oh. Man, that was a whole lot of protein water going down the wrong pipe. A lot of protein water going down the wrong pipe. Oh. Oh, man. All right. My bad. All right. Tony Pollard rushing attempts. Line on Underdog is set is 14.5. FanDuel, the only line different showing up right now is FanDuel at 13.5. It looks like the under for these other sites is paying out a little bit better. And we've got a full rushing attempt less here. Let's go ahead and go Tony Pollard under. Let's go Tony Pollard under. Under 14.5 rushing attempts. Oh, man. Oh, man. Whew. That got me good, too, chat. That wasn't just like a little, like, oh, wrong one. No, that was like, oh, my God. My lungs are filling up with protein water. That was a big drink. All right, small sips from now on. Another interesting one here is Devin Witherspoon tackles. So right now on Underdog, I'm on the wrong line. There it is, 4. Right now his tackles plus assist is listed as 4. But like taking the under of 3.5, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5 on these books right here, they're all paying out way better to go under, which means more than likely they're assuming they're going to go over. Oh, man. Oh, I'm still dying. So I'm actually going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to go Devin Witherspoon over 4.5 tackles and assists. Devin Witherspoon over 4.5 tackles and assists, because the odds of paying out under on these other books my bad, chat. Oh, man, I can still feel the protein stuck in my throat. Whew. So anyway, the under is paying out significantly more on these at 3.5. And obviously we're over here by a half a tackle. But even if they feel like, oh, under 3.5 is going to pay out way better, that means that over 3.5 is a little bit better. So worst case scenario, we're betting this 4 right here, saying even if he hits 4, we get a push right there. Even if he hits 4, we get a push right there. It looks like we've got Rondell Moore right now. Oh, man. What's up, Viper? Oh, man. Who would know that the protein water would take would try to take my life? So Rondell Moore under receptions is currently listed at 3 on Underdog. But his line is basically 2.5 everywhere else. Plus 100, plus 110. We do have a lower payout here on Barstool. But to go under 2.5 receptions on all these other sites is paying out quite a bit more. Most dope. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to. So if we go over 3 receptions, they're saying the likelihood of him going under 2.5 is going to pay out a lot more than the likelihood of him going over 2.5. And since we have that extra half a yard here, Rondell Moore is another bet where if he hits 3 exactly, Rondell Moore is gone. Let me refresh real quick then. So there is a possibility that some of these have kind of timed out. All right, so I just refreshed. Joe Mixon, we've already done. Devin Witherspoon, we already did. Josh Allen, yeah, so Rondell Moore is gone. Against the Las Vegas Raiders, they're thinking over. So right now, FanDuel has Daniel Jones listed at 19.5. Listed at 19.5 on FanDuel. His line on Underdog is 18.5. The odds of him going over right now on FanDuel are paying out negative 114, meaning that the opportunity for him to go over is a little bit higher. All of these other sports books, so if you don't see a number listed here like there is here, it means these other sports books have the line at 18.5 as well. Whatever this line is here, if it's not listed above here, it means it's the same line for them. So, and again, for him to go over, all of these are paying out pretty well at 18.5. I say we go Daniel Jones over on passing attempts here. Let's go Daniel Jones over on passing attempts at 18.5. And we'll go ahead and lock that one in. All right. So our next ticket, we've got Devin Witherspoon. We're going higher than 4 tackles plus assists. With Daniel Jones, we're going higher than 18.5 completions. And for Tony Pollard, we're going lower than 14.5 rushing attempts. Chat, would you all mind if I had my breakfast on stream too? I did not get a chance to eat my protein bar this morning. I won't chew in your ear, but if I'm going to make it through the next couple of hours with you, got to energize, right? Got to energize. Steve, I won't choke again. As long as I hope not, anyway. I woke up at like 9:15 this morning. My head was killing me. So I tried to lay back down for a little bit to get rid of it. No luck. All right, let's take a look. Josh Allen right now. Rushing attempts. An Underdog is set at 6. Several sports books have him listed at 5.5. 3 of those sports books have better odds for him to hit the under, which means they're talking about 5 or less rushing attempts. Going over would pay less. So when I take a look at Josh Allen, I would say probably over 6 rushing attempts here. STEM-based, I will be live with our members only live stream at 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. I might go a couple of minutes past that. It just depends on how many more we get through. So Josh Allen going over 6 rushing attempts here. Hold on a second. Let me... Rushing, he's gone over 6 rushing attempts each of his last 2 games. He had 6 at the beginning of the year in week 1, and then he had 7 in week 7 and 7 in week 8. So he has been running the football a little bit more over the last couple of weeks. I would say, again, we're hoping for a push here, or we're hoping for him to go over. I would say we're going to go Josh Allen over 6 rushing attempts. Josh Allen, 6 rushing attempts. We're going to go higher there. Lamar Jackson, rushing attempts. This is kind of interesting because his rushing attempts are set at 9. 5 sports books list him at 6 sports books. You can kind of see one off to the side there. Have him listed at 8.5. But the odds are kind of all over the place. -114, plus 105, plus 105, plus 106, -104, plus something I can't see. I don't know why I can't scroll all the way over there. This one is kind of all over the place. I think we stay away from that one. If this was more definitive, if more of these were plus or minus along the board, then I would say, okay, let's go ahead and roll with it. But they seem to be kind of all over the place right now, so I'm going to say let's stay away from that one. Mac Jones, under passing completions, under 22.5. He's got 2 other books set at 21.5. And all of these odds right here are saying, yep, all of these books have them also listed under 22.5 with better odds. We're going to go Mac Jones under 22.5. Mac Jones under 22.5 completions, not attempts, completions. Completions. So we need one more to get this ticket going. Lamar Jackson, over 19.5. We've got one book set at 20.5 right now. Pretty good odds across the board here for him to go over his 19.5. All of these other books have him at 19.5. They have good odds. We have another book listing him to go over with good odds as well. So, no, passing completions, Peasy. Completions. What up, Sean? Let's go ahead and go Lamar Jackson. Let's take over the Ooh, those are passing completions as well. Again, though, 20.5 is giving you good odds here, right? 20.5, negative 108, meaning that even FanDuel, the over on 20.5 is still making them feel like, oh, we're going to pay out less. We're going to pay out less. And all of these others at 19.5 are paying out less for him to potentially go over. Let's go Lamar Jackson over on the completions. That's a lot. That's definitely a little bit of a shaky one for me, but the books are showing us that it could be good. We're going to go ahead and go higher on those completions. We're going to lock that in here real quick. Give me just a moment here, and I'll show you on the screen. What is it with the bots on the Sunday morning live stream here? All right, we're going Lamar Jackson higher than 19.5 completions. We're going Josh Allen higher than 6 rushing attempts. And we're going Mac Jones lower than 22.5 completions. We're going to go ahead and make our way over to the sportsbook screen now. And we're going to kind of go back to how we've done it the last couple of weeks as well. Let's look for some big discrepancies. We're going to go with passing yards to begin with because we have seemed to have the most luck there for the most part. There's our next ticket. Got that out of the way. All right, we have a yard discrepancy here. Taylor Heineke over his passing yards total of 210.5. Going up against Minnesota. So he's 210. So right here, basically same odds to go over or under. Same odds to go over or under. Same odds to go over or under. For the most part. I would say, oh, and it just dropped a little bit. So this dropped, it was 211.5 a second ago because we're at 210.5. Stafford is out today. Okay. Ooh, Geno Smith, a big discrepancy right here. 234.5 on Underdog. His average is 232.3. His under is 226 here, 225 here, 225 here, 232 here, 232 here. Let's go ahead and go under for Geno Smith passing yards today. Lower than 234.5 passing yards. That's a pretty large discrepancy as well. We're going to want to try and lock that in quickly. So let's find another bet to go with here. Lamar Jackson, 227, listed at 226. I don't really want to take the under there because we're looking at needing to hit 19.5 completions, and I really don't want to say, oh, we're begging for 19.5 completions, but under 227 passing yards. Clayton Tune right now, 166.5 on Underdog, 164.2. So we're going to lock in Clayton Tune under as well. Under 166.5 passing yards. 206, 206, 212, 212, 240.5, 239.1. So it looks like the under on Baker is a little bit better right now. 238. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sports books have Baker Mayfield lower on the passing yards going up against Houston. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go Mayfield under passing yards against Houston. Lower than 240.5 passing yards. We're going to lock this in. Couple of big discrepancies there that we want to get on a ticket right away. Next ticket, Baker Mayfield lower than 240.5 passing yards. Geno Smith lower than 234.5 passing yards. Clayton Tune lower than 166.5 passing yards. That's our next ticket there. Calling Stafford trash is probably being a little overzealous, Abe, don't you think? So CJ Stroud, 243. Average odds are 241.7. See, right here, this site is giving you better odds for him to go over 243. OddsJam is also showing the same. Plus 110 to go over 243. Pinnacle plus 107 to go over 243. We got to lock in CJ Stroud under 243 passing yards. Stroud under 243.5 passing yards. We have to lock in the under there. That's a good bet based on those numbers. 254, 253, not a big difference there. 188, 189. Tyson Bagent, not quite a yard there. We're gonna stay away from that. 227, 227, 229.5, 230.4, 214.5. Let's take a look here. Aiden O'Connell listed at 214.5 on Underdog. Average is 213.4. Let's see if we can find any discrepancies here. $214.5 going under, essentially same thing here. Not seeing a big change here. I say let's stay away from this one. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. 189.5, 190.4 for Daniel Jones going up against Las Vegas. That's paying out more here. It's paying out more here. Paying out more here. Man, even though his average is under, websites are paying out more for him to go over. Dak Prescott at 258, 257. Jalen Hurts at 252, 249. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. 252.5 on Underdog. 249 here. 240. Wow. 252. They're giving you plus 101 odds to go over 252. So we're at 252 here. 1, 2. See, here's where I'm concerned, though. So points bets and Barstool have them listed at 240, which is a significant difference. 246, 240 right here. We're not really seeing these lines where there's a huge discrepancy. I don't love. And unfortunately, that's where we got caught last week. Is there was some books doing some extremely low lines for some reason. And that's kind of the same thing I see happening here. But under 252, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sports books have his total under 252.5. The data and the numbers here show us that we should go Hurts under 200 and 252.5. I'm gonna lock it in because the numbers say to, but I will be honest, I don't love it. I don't love it. Just a reminder, start and sit questions on our other stream will start up at about 11:45 in about 20 minutes. Right now, we are just talking through pick'ems. You're more than welcome to discuss start and sits with the Headliner Nation community that's in the chat right now. But I won't be answering any start and sit questions until we go live on our other stream at 11:45. $272, $272, $244, $245. Not a big difference. $214, $214. Okay. Let's move on. We just did player passing yards. Let's go to receiving yards as well. Whoa. Oh, that's because those games are. I was like, where are all the lines at? $26.5, $45, $45, $7, $32.5, $33.4. 42.5, 43.6. Kyle Pitts. You can see right here. 43.6, 42.5, 44, 45. Right now, OddsJam going over 42.5 is giving you better odds. I'm going to go ahead and stay away from that one. So far, not a ton of discrepancies. There's not a ton of discrepancies right now. Elijah Moore over. Right now listed at 3.5 on Underdog, or 38.5 on Underdog. 37.4 is the average. To go over 39.5, Bally's giving really good odds. To go under here, 38.5. You're getting better odds there. Yeah, I don't love that one. There's not a ton of discrepancies showing up right now for receiving yards. Marquise Brown, 47.5, 46.9. Not loving that. 42.2. Cooper Kupp is locked on Underdog with the news of Stafford. Jaden Reed. Man, there's not a whole lot in receiving yards today. One thing that just caught my eye right here, though, with Mike Evans, his line is set at 55.5. His average line is at 56. This is paying out better under. 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 So these same lines over here as Underdog are paying out better for him to go under than go over. And he's also got half a yard. So we're going to go Mike Evans. We're going to go Mike Evans over 55.5 receiving yards. Mike Evans over 55.5 receiving yards. So that's our next ticket right there. Jalen Hurts lower than 252.5 passing yards. Mike Evans higher than 55.5 receiving yards. CJ Stroud lower than 243.5 passing yards. That's our next ticket there. Let's try to find one more ticket. Not a ton of discrepancies I'm finding right now. Not a ton of lines that I'm finding and being like, ooh, love that. Same thing with Mike Evans here, though. Right? When you take a look at Rachaad White, currently listed at 27.5. His average line is half a yard higher. Plus 100 to go over. Same line as Underdog. Plus 105 to go over. Same line as Underdog. I will say Antonio Gibson over is interesting because of the way. No, never mind. No, it's not. No, it's not. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I was looking at two different lines. I was drunk. Yeah, there's just not. Terry McLaurin, 60.5 on Underdog, 62 right now. Bally's got a huge, huge number here. 69.5, 65, 65, 61. To go under here, plus 100. Man, I don't know if I love Terry McLaurin over 60.5 receiving yards. Because we got more than a yard. Oh, it just dropped. Yeah, let's stay away from it. I just don't feel like there's a ton that I love this morning, to be honest with you. Chuba Hubbard under. Yeah, I'm not loving that one either. A potential good one here with Michael Pittman. We're going to go over Michael Pittman. Let's go over Michael Pittman. Over 59.5 receiving yards. And again, I'm not super in love with that either. $34.5, $35.2. Man, chat, I'm just not. If you can find a couple today that you like, I would say go with it. I'm not seeing a ton that I love right now. Like, we've found a couple of pretty big discrepancies, but I haven't found a ton that I'm like, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's go over to rushing yards real quick. To me, this feels like a week where we stay calm with the bets. You know, obviously do what you feel is best for you, but I'm not seeing a ton right now that I love. Like, I'm just not seeing it. $55.1, $56.5 for Gus Edwards. don't love that one. Dan, this is all about the numbers. We are only looking at data. We are only looking at numbers here, because if you bet with your gut, you are going to lose way more than you win. Doing betting is way different than doing any type of fantasy lineup or things like that. When you're betting and when you're placing money down on these bets, you want to use the data as much as possible. And that's the reason why we're looking at all of these numbers here. Because if the line on Underdog, for instance, on Lamar Jackson is set at 45.5, but we look at the average odds, and the average odds are 2 yards higher than that, that means multiple other sports books are listing him as the over, and all these sports books employ thousands of people that put together these lines that are much better with data and statistics than what any of us in this chat are, more than likely. So we are always looking at the numbers when we do these. We're not betting with our gut. Betting with your gut will get you in trouble. Zach Charbonnet, over 20.5, 21.8 here. We've got one at 25. We got another at 22. We got one at 25, one at 25. Man, see, again, it's just not... See, like for me, I like Jerome Ford this week. I do. But his line on Underdog is at 54.5 yards, and it's 52.6 elsewhere. That's why I'm like, I'm not feeling comfortable with the numbers this week. Maybe I'm just a little apprehensive after having kind of a bad week last week. So I'm wanting to play it a little bit more safe this week, but I'm not really getting excited about a ton today, to be honest with you. Let's go back to the sportsbook screen, and let's just see, or not the sportsbook screen. Let's go back to the fantasy optimizer and just see if any other numbers popped in for us there. Hey, Dill, thanks for becoming a member for the 23rd month. We'll be live over on our members-only stream in just a couple of minutes here. You'll have to get your answer over there because, unfortunately, I'm in the middle of stuff right now here. And like I said a minute ago, like I'm not seeing a ton today that's making me feel like super excited about anything. So let me do my last slip of the day here. Man, I'm just... Geno Smith lower than 232.5. Clayton Tune lower than 166.5. And Michael Pittman... Wait a second. We already did a slip. Why are those numbers back in there? Yeah, we did that with... Man, what in the world? I don't know why my Underdog app just added those back. But earlier we took Geno Smith lower than 234.5 yards. And now his line is 232.5 yards. So we did good there. So we're just kind of doubling up on that ticket. My bad. But yeah, I don't see a ton that I'm loving today, man. I don't. And like I said, maybe I'm a little apprehensive because of like having kind of a worse week last week, and I'm wanting to kind of get back on track. And I felt like maybe we were a little overzealous last week with some of our bets, some of our slips. So maybe I'm trying to stay away from them. I don't know, man. So yeah, we're going to call it here though, because I've got to go do my members only live stream now, right here on the channel. We're going to switch over. Give me just a couple of minutes. We got to get over there and get that started. Unfortunately, there weren't a ton of bets today that we got super excited about, but maybe you got a few in that you were feeling good about. Remember to use, if you want to get signed up for OddsJam and use the tools that we saw today, code word liners, you're going to get 30% off your first month. You're going to get a 7-day free trial, and you're going to get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like it at the end of 30 days, you can contact them and they'll refund your money for you. But I'm going to get on out of here because I got to get over to the other stream to start answering start and sit questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you all tuning in. Hopefully all of your pick'ems go well today. Best of luck, and I'll see you all in just a minute.